Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, the 16th of August 2024. You're watching Morning Brew on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. I hope you're doing all right this fair morning. We've got quite a few people in the chat already. We've got Gabby Arnold in there. We've got Simon, Gillian Hope. We've got Emma Price. We've got Lofty the Softy. Roger Haslock is in there. Hi, everyone. If you want to join the chat, it's really simple. Just subscribe to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button there. Well, not on the screen, but, next to the video, whatever. And wait for 1 minute, and then you'll be able to add your dulcet tones to the side of the screen there. But please be respectful, and we don't tolerate any intolerance. So there you go. The paradox of intolerance. Anyway, today we're going to be talking about the Heritage Foundation and its connection with British politicians, particularly in the Tory party, including Robert Jenrick, Priti Patel, and other senior Tories who have links to this think tank, or thick tank, as I like to call it. In November 2021, Priti Patel gave a speech to the Heritage Foundation, and Oliver Dowden did as well in 2022. In April 2023, the Project 2025 agenda was published, and that same month, Liv Truss gave a speech at the Heritage Foundation, and this year, in February, Robert Jenrick gave a speech to the Heritage Foundation. So the connections between the Tory party, and more importantly, the Tory party people who are actually planning to stand. I know, obviously, Liz Truss can't stand because she's not an MP anymore. Robert Jenrick is standing, and Priti Patel are standing to be leader of the Conservative Party. For those of you who don't know what the Heritage Foundation is, it was a think tank set up in the 1970s by a bunch of fossil fuel companies that wanted to that found out that climate change was a thing. It was happening. It was going to destroy us all. And they decided to get together and put out misinformation to tell people that it wasn't a problem. We don't need to be worrying about the heating up of the planet and the fact that the temperature graphs are going off the charts, or the temperature charts are going off the graphs, one way or the other. And it's nothing to worry about. It's the same MO, the same process that had been trotted out in the 1950s and 60s when they discovered the link between smoking and lung cancer and heart disease and about 100 other ailments and radiation. So cigarettes have a lot of radiation. I was watching a really interesting video about the most radioactive place on Earth, and it's pretty much a dead smoker's lungs. Anyway, but what the tobacco industry did was they were like, oh shit, we need people not to look at the science. We need them to ignore the science, ignore the scientists. And they paid doctors to go on the TV and smoke and say, yeah, it's a lifestyle choice. All these people being alarmist about it causing cancer and stuff. Hey, it tastes good. Hey, nicotine, give us money. Give us all your money. Give us all your money for things that we just literally grow and burn when there's millions of people starving in the world. Let's just burn stuff in our face. Let's just inhale the smoke. Let's just use all that land that could be used for making food. Let's use it for leaves that we just burn and put in our lungs. Because, I don't know, common sense isn't a thing. Anyway, and they were very successful in doing that. And it took 50 years after the actual finding that came out that smoking did cause lung cancer. And don't forget, it was known before then. Read Sherlock Holmes. 1890s, it was written by Arthur Conan Doyle. In one of the short stories of Sherlock Holmes, I have a distinct memory of Professor Moriarty, Dr. Watson, saying to Holmes, you shouldn't smoke. You know it's bad for your health. I mean, they knew back in Elizabethan England that it was bad for your health, because obviously inhaling smoke is bad, but maybe they didn't have the science to back it up, but they'd known about it for a very long time. Anyway, so Heritage Foundation was doing that, but for oil, which is arguably even more dangerous. It is even more dangerous because it means that we're not doing what we should be doing about climate change. There was a sliding doors moment in in the 2020 the 2000 American presidential election, in which Al Gore should have won that election. He was declared the winner, like he should have won that election, but because of nepotism and chicanery, George W. Bush got put in instead, who was very much of the Heritage Foundation mindset of, oh no, we need to ignore this and not worry about it, because if we do, it will raise concerns. We don't want to be alarmist. That's the bullshit that horrible little privately educated gobshites like Nick Ferrari come out with, who's on the radio right now, probably saying, oh, these people are being alarmist. They're being alarmist. They're alarming people. Oh no, don't be alarmist. I'm like, these people are trying to burn us to death, right? And we're raising the alarm about the fact they're trying to burn us to death, trying to take away our food, destroy our logistics, create billions of refugees, and lead to a war that ends all life on Earth. And their response is, oh, you're being alarmist. You're alarming people. And then scoffing at people for not wanting to have kids, because what's the point? Anyway, so the Heritage Foundation it's got strong ties to climate science deniers and fossil fuel interests. It's funded by Koch Industries. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but I don't care. Which was the Koch brothers. Now it's the Koch brother. And they have been around for a very long time, very involved in very right-wing policies in America. The Project 2025 advisory groups received over $9.6 million from Charles Koch since 2020 and $21.5 million from the Sarah Scaffe Foundation or Scaife Foundation. It is just unconscionable that these people have so much power, so much money, and this is how they choose to use their money, their power. The J.K. Rowling syndrome, that Elon Musk syndrome. Oh, I've got all this money. What should I do? I know, I'll go mad and be horrible to everyone. I mean, like, they must have grown up like as thinking the Bond villains were the actual heroes of the piece. Oh yes. Scaramanga. He had it sorted. He knew what he was on about. You know, Drax, Goldfinger. They knew what they were doing. Anyway, so Project 2025 is basically a blueprint for what could happen in a potential Trump presidency if he wins in November, and it aims to hit the ground running. One of the things that they found in 2016 is they weren't expecting to win. They thought that Hillary Clinton had it wrapped up. They didn't expect Trump to win. They didn't expect any Republican to win. And unfortunately, Trump did win. And there wasn't a riot to say that he didn't by the Democrats, because that's just not the way they roll. But it meant that the first few, I was going to say months, but I'm going to say years, the first 4 years of the Trump presidency, all 4 years of the Trump presidency were very, very discombobulated. Like, just they didn't have a particular agenda that they wanted to follow. They were shell-shocked. They didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to do it. All that was important in that first term of Trump was to stack the Supreme Court so they could get rid of Roe v. versus Wade. Look, there's again the sliding doors moment of what would have happened if Hillary Clinton had won. But I mean, if Al Gore had won in 2000, then we would have 100% renewable energy everywhere in the world now. I honestly believe that. I know that sounds like pie in the sky, but we would have done it by now because we would have been led by the USA, but we weren't. And then Obama came along and he had to spend his whole time in office trying to fix the mistakes that the Republicans had made while they were in office. And then they wouldn't let him do anything. They wouldn't let him. They wouldn't let Obama pass any legislation because they just said no to everything. That was Mitch McConnell's policy of just no, everything, no. Can we do that? No, we're not doing that. No. And that made the Obama administration not as productive as it should have been and as it could have been. And when it comes to tackling global climate change, I think that the Obama administration fell short. But here's the point. They thought that Trump wasn't going to win, so they didn't really have a plan. Now they have a plan. It's called Project 2025. The project aims to roll back Biden's climate actions, deregulate fossil fuels, and cut renewable energy investment at the worst possible time to do that, because we are just going up the hockey stick at the moment, if you've seen an inconvenient truth. Thank you very much to Ivan Ambrose there for the £5 super chat. That's very, very kind of you, mate. There is a heritage party in the UK which is very right wing. Does it have close links with the Heritage Foundation? I don't know, but heritage, like, it just sounds so innocuous, doesn't it? Like, oh, it's just a heritage thing, you know. Do you think English heritage, the rival to National Trust? I mean, it's, you know, it's not a big deal, is it? It's not like being horrible. It's just some bland name to give something, but actually, no, the Heritage Foundation, it is pretty evil. It's not. I mean, they should have just called it Slork and be done with it. Hello there. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Project 25 is one of the worst things socially and health-wise which could be introduced in recent times. Yeah, it is absolutely abhorrent. The contributors and speakers to the Heritage Foundation and to this Project 2025 thing are nearly all former Trump officials, and they're all expected to join any future Trump administration. This is despite the fact that Trump has tried to distance himself from Project 2025 as more information about it has come out, and people who have friends who are gay and said, I don't want my gay friends to have their children taken from them and be put into re-education camps. Or maybe they have friends who are women. Or maybe they are women themselves and they don't want a nationwide ban on abortion and on IVF and on contraception. The Heritage Foundation claims that Project 2025 is an independent coalition and it's not aligned with any political candidate. Okay. It's not like they lie or anything. Would they lie to you? Yes, they would. And Robert Jenrick, when he gave his speech in February this year, he gave a speech titled "Securing Sovereign Borders in an Age of Mass Migration." He gave that speech in Washington, D.C. He also praised the Heritage Foundation and mentioned his past interactions with them while interning for Condoleezza Rice under President George W. Bush. He also praised Niall Gardner, the director of the Heritage Foundation's Margaret Thatcher Centre for Freedom, highlighting his role in strengthening US-UK conservative ties. So the Conservatives are all in. I'll use a different expression if it's a bit later on in the day, but they're all in on this whole Project 2025 Heritage Foundation horror show. It is an absolute horror show. I can't emphasize that enough. If Trump gets in and you have any American friends, I mean, you might have to put them up. You might have to just say, look, come over for a holiday and just stay here for a few years. You might have to put them up in the spare room or something, or put them up in the attic. Oh, we got a super chat. Thank you very much, Rosie, for the £5 super chat. Hello, Graham. Hope you're feeling better. Yeah, you've still got the cough. I've been told it's a 100-day cough, but I've had a chest X-ray, clear. I've been tested for COVID numerous times, not got COVID. And I've been to the doctor 3 times now, and the doctor each time, 3 different doctors, have all said, they've made that noise. So my problem is at the moment is I keep getting these, it's almost like narcolepsy. Like I'm in the middle of something, I'm doing something, and then bang, I hit like a brick wall, and I'm so tired that I fall asleep. Not like at my desk, do you know what I mean? I go and find a corner to curl up in. But I fall asleep for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and then I wake up, and then I'm like, and it's really weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm getting old. Maybe that's just what old people do. They just nap all the time. Like, they turn into cats. The older you get, the more you turn into a cat. You just get a bit more antisocial, and you like knocking things off mantel pieces. Anyway, so Jenrick has increasingly criticised net zero policies and supported more fossil fuel extraction, including new coal mines. Like these, he's all in for destroying the environment. That's what the Tories want to do, because money. And don't forget, when you think of someone like Liz Truss, how did Liz Truss become Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? I mean, what? I mean, the woman's an idiot, yes, but she was given a lot of money by these people, the same people who have come up with the Heritage Foundation, the Koch Industries, the Barclay brother, the Rothermeres of the world, and Rupert Murdoch, who is unfortunately not quite shuffled off this mortal coil yet. Just all these people are there, and they're supplying these politicians with lots of money, and there's bugger all in the US and the UK that either country has done about it. I mean, corruption in America is off the charts. Now, apparently, if you're an elected official, if you are bribed to do something, but you're paid the bribe after doing the thing that you said you'll do for the bribe, it's not a crime, according to the Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago. I shit you not. That literally went to the Supreme Court, and they're like, well, it's not a bribe, but you got paid afterwards. So you got paid like $500,000 after doing something, for a company, an oil extraction company or a big entertainment company. If you get paid after that as an elected official, that's okay. The Supreme Court of the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen. An oldie, yes, but you learn to nap when your body's had enough. I don't want to be an oldie. Richie McLean says, hello from Las Vegas, Nevada. I don't get it. A non-profit status should be terminated immediately. Heritage Foundation can't be associated with political if it's a non-profit organization. Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, more than half the people working, who are, not working for it, but the spokespeople for it worked in the Trump administration. And they're probably going to work in the next one as well. Truss became PM the other day. Truss became PM because the other option was Rishi Sunak. I'm not going to say the Tories were racist, but, well, yeah, indeed. Anyway, look, we're talking about the Heritage Foundation. Here's a tweet from Priti Patel. Delighted to meet with our friends from across the pond, Kevin Roberts and Niall Gardner from the Heritage Foundation. A wonderful opportunity to restate the importance of conservative values and beliefs at home and abroad. I mean, these potential leaders of the Conservative Party, and Priti Patel's doing quite well, apparently, according to the people who tell me these things. They could be leader. They could be the leader standing up and asking questions to Keir Starmer. And instead of asking questions like, how can we make the country better? Every question's going to be, why aren't you drilling for more oil? Why aren't we burning more oil? Why aren't we creating more plastics with oil and then dumping them in the sea and filling up the sea with oil? That would be a great idea. Let's just fill up the sea with, the plastics that we have made with the oil that we've extracted from the ground. Because you know what? In the future, they won't need plastic or oil for anything else, lubrication or something, or tarmac, they won't need it for that. So we'll just burn it. We'll just burn as billions of barrels every year. We'll just burn it and hope that the CO2 that is released doesn't kill us all. Johnny Copperhead says, my super chat, Graham. I'm sorry, I missed that. Oh, there it is. There we go. Woohoo! Sorry, mate. Missed that. But thank you very much for pointing it out to me. It's fun, this, because now this has changed the setup and you can see what I'm looking at. So if your super chat goes off the top there and I haven't mentioned it, yeah. Johnny Cophead, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. It's very kind of you, and I apologise profusely for missing it. Does Nigel Farage have any ties to the Heritage Foundation? I think I heard something. Oh, by the way, do not mention the Farage riots. Look, I tried not to mention the Farage riots. I think I mentioned it once, but I think I got away with it. But don't mention the Farage riots, okay? Just don't put those two words, Farage and riots, together. Because if you do, then that'll be a bad thing to put those two words, Farage and riots, together. Because Farage and riots should never be words that go next to each other in any kind of sentence. I wonder how much the Supreme Court got. Well, I mean, just that's from Frank. A lot. They've got a new Winnebago. Pardon me. Told you my cough hasn't gone. Hang on. So in February 2022, Oliver Dowden gave the Heritage Foundation a speech on defeating cancel culture and criticised woke ideology. Liberal Democrat spokesman criticised top conservatives for aligning themselves with Trump and his US backers. Don't forget, Liz Truss and Boris Johnson, both former prime ministers of this country, have said that the world will be more secure under Trump, which is as mad as saying the world will be more secure under Hitler. Like, that is the line, because he's a strong leader who will unite the country. He won't unite the country, If you listen to what Kamala Harris is saying, it's nearly all about unity, uniting people. Tim Walz is really good at this. He talks about the idea of getting people back together, families that have been torn apart by political division. He talks about uniting the country. You listen to what Trump says, it's all about division. It's all about them and us. These people are trying to take away your rights, take away your freedoms. It's going to be awful. America's an awful place. It's a dreadful place. It's a third world country. He said it was a third world country the other day. He literally, he said it. He said it's a third world country while he was having his little chum in, I think, with that Elon Musk creep who's just like, hello, Trump. Would you like to say some things on my shitty platform that doesn't even work anymore? Please, everyone watching this, if you're still on Twitter, get off it. Just you don't have to delete your account. Just stop using it. They can see, daily users. Just stop it. I mean, I go back on it now and again to promote something or to call Elon Musk a gobshite. But apart from that, just sack it off. Just sack it off. Also, David Frost, who is that gobshite who did the Brexit deal, which was shit, and then he spent the following 4 years just slagging off his own deal that he was the one who put together. And he said, "Oh, but the EU bullied us. They didn't let us do what we wanted to do." Yeah. A guy elevated above his station by his old private school connections, as pretty much all the people that I've been mentioning today. Well, Oliver Dowden and Priti Patel didn't go to private school, but apart from them, he praised Kevin Roberts of the Heritage Foundation last year for and advocated postponing net zero and reducing renewable energy subsidies. Gobshite. Suella Braverman spoke alongside Roberts at National Conservative Conference in May 2023 with an anti-ESG sentiment highlighted. In September 22, Nadeem Zahawi met with the Heritage Foundation for a ministerial roundtable in Washington, D.C. Liz Truss has delivered multiple paid speeches to the Heritage Foundation since resigning as Prime Minister, including a Margaret Thatcher Freedom Lecture. Truss's new book, 10 Years to Save the West, calls for abolishing the UK's Climate Change Act. Oh, God, I hate that woman. You know when... Sorry, I didn't put this light on. You know when, like, something humiliating happens to Liz Truss, like the guy who's interviewing people at the races doesn't recognise her, or led by donkeys put a flag behind her that says that she crashed the economy with a picture of her lettuce. I love it. Like, Liz Truss is just a horrific human being. She's the worst of us. She is at once uncharismatic, thick as pig shit, and evil. Like, having those three is unusual. Like, I hate Trump. He is an absolute gobshite. He is probably the most evil person on the planet right now. But people find him charismatic. I don't like him. I think he's boring. I think he says the same things over and over again. He sounds like a stuck record. However, some people find him charismatic. Here's the thing with Liz Truss. No one on this planet finds her charismatic. No one thinks, oh yeah, go on, Liz, give us. I mean, even, I'm going to hate saying this, but even Jacob Rees-Mogg, who I hate with every fibre of my being, has a show on Gammon Box News, and he presents the show. That is something that Liz Truss could not do. Even Suella Braverman went on the radio on LBC to stand in for James O'Brien for some reason. At least she could have conversations with people. Liz Truss can't do that. Liz Truss couldn't present a radio show. She would be a disaster. No one wants her to do that because she has no charisma whatsoever. And I'm not saying that Suella Braverman has charisma or that Jacob Rees-Mogg, but some people are happy to listen to them, I guess. Even people who like Liz Truss's policies, like, let's stop doing anything about the environment, the climate heating that is going on right now across the world, we could see it with our own eyes. It's not even something that it's just somewhere hidden away in the data of climate scientists. We're seeing it on a daily basis where we're getting more and more extreme weather events, which is exactly what the scientists said would happen. And she's like, no, we shouldn't be doing anything about that. No, leave that. The Heritage Foundation also has ties to UK climate denial groups and regularly features in the Telegraph, which often criticises climate policies. So there you go. I mean, like, it is an absolute cluster F. And the fact that it has such strong ties, the Heritage Foundation, it came up with Project 2025, which is part of the Trump agenda. You've got these Tories who are going to be leading the Tory party, who are, I want to use this term, but I can't. Very deep in this whole thing. Jesus. And the only sort of silver lining of all this is the fact that the Tories are currently in opposition. They've been knocked down to 120 odd MPs. That's bugger all. The smallest number of MPs I think they've ever had as the modern Conservative Party since 1832. I'm just hoping that they remain in opposition for the next 15 years. They deserve to, but then a big part of that is Labour, stepping up to the mark and actually doing what it needs to do in order to change our society for the better. And there's a few things that we've already discussed that we could do to make this society better. But yeah, the silver lining is the Tories are not in power at the moment, thank heavens. But the fact that so many of them are eagerly lining up to join this think tank, which is pushing a far-right agenda, an agenda that wants to reach in to women's bodies and take away their autonomy over their own bodies. And I've said this before, I think that the only thing in life that you should really be able to say is yours is your own body. Anything else can be taken away. Your house can be taken away. Everyone you know and love can be taken away. Your clothes can be taken away. Like everything else. But what you do to your own body, so long as it's not hurting anyone else, I think should be legal. Because it's your body. It is your decision. If you're a sane adult and you want to get Trump tattooed on your forehead, I think it should be legal. I think it's daft. I think it's idiotic, but I think it should be legal. If you want to take drugs, I don't like drugs. I hate drugs, to be honest with you. Cards on the table, never taken them, don't like them. Don't like what they do to people. But what I hate more than that, or more than how annoying cokeheads are, because they are really annoying. Don't be a cokehead. And they turn people conservative. Like cocaine. If you know someone who's a bit liberal and they start getting into cocaine, watch them go more conservative. That might also be connected with the fact that they've got enough money to buy cocaine, and that's going to skew them towards conservative because they're like, oh, I've got that money and I want to keep that. Commander DJ Burp. In there with the £5 super chat. Thank you so much, sir. That's very kind of you. I'm going to give you a little super chat animation. It says, good morning, Graham. Good morning to you, sir. And then Ivan Ambrose with another £5 super chat. Thank you. Everyone's been very generous with the super chats this morning. Electoral reform. We must get on it and keep the Tories out. Yes. Yeah, we must, Ivan. All the bits of good news. Okay, I talk about silver linings. But yeah, let me just finish on that point about. I think that your own body should be your right to do with what you like, and that goes for abortion. It goes for IVF. It goes for contraception. It goes for euthanasia. It goes for tattoos, drugs, drink, whatever. As long as you don't hurt someone else. The minute you start the millisecond you start hurting someone else with your actions, then something needs to be done. And it doesn't have to be a criminal thing, okay? I'm thinking drinking, all right? I've lost a couple of friends to alcohol, and it's horrific. And every time you have a drink and you think about your friend who you've lost to drink, you're like, how can I defend doing this when this is what killed my friend? But there isn't enough structure in place to help people who are addicted to alcohol or are addicted to drugs or are addicted to gambling, which is legal. There's not enough support there in our society because we have a very dog-eat-dog society at the moment after 14 years of Tory government. And so while I understand and completely get that, alcohol creates the the canvas, if you like, for people to commit crime. Okay, you're talking about domestic violence. It's often alcohol fueled, drink driving, violence out in public places, and people just doing really stupid thing. And there should be things in place to mitigate that, and also to help people who admit they've got a problem and they need support, and give them that support that they need. I don't think it should be made illegal. If it's something like smoking, which I also don't think should be made illegal, but I don't want to smell it. I don't want it anywhere near me. I have an absolute hate relationship with cigarettes. I think they are absolutely fucking disgusting. And I can't explain to people who smoke how disgusting I find it, because they seem to enjoy it. But it just takes me back to the days when I worked in the student union in Manchester, when everyone smoked, and I would come home and my hair, my face, my beard, my clothes, everything, my jeans would stink, absolutely stink of cigarettes, because everyone was smoking. And I couldn't wear the same shirt again for my shift the next day. I couldn't do it because it stank too much. And I'd go to bed at like 3 a.m, absolutely knackered. And if I didn't have a shower before going to bed, I'd wake up in the morning and my bloody pillow would smell of smoke because it was in my hair. And I was like, why are you doing this to me? I don't go and spray manure on you in your face so you have to smell it for the rest of the day. But having said that, I think smoking should be legal. I just don't want it anywhere near me. In the same way that I think cocaine should be legal, I just don't want it anywhere near me. Have a clinic where people can go and get high, whatever. Give them some, I don't know, what do coke people do? Give them some toys to play with. I don't know, like a soft toy, a soft play centre for crackheads. That would be great. Go over there, you posh crackhead, you. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I would do on that point. Anyway, Lucy Willis, my body, my right to transition. Absolutely, Lucy. Absolutely. It's your body. It's got nothing to do with anyone else. And if you decide to transition, then that is your choice. And also, right, everyone should respect that. In the same way that when someone gets married, you don't keep referring to them by their maiden name. If a woman gets married, generally in this country, I know it's a bit sexist, but they change their name, so it's their husband's surname. I don't like this. I think it's a ridiculous tradition going back to the days where women were just seen as chattel. I don't like it, but some people do. Maybe they prefer their new surname. I don't know. But you don't disrespect them by continually referring to them by their maiden name once they are married and once that is their new name. That's dead naming them. It's not respecting the fact that they have made a decision in life. This is the person I want to marry. But so many decisions that we take like that are kind of like taken out of our hands in a way. Like, it's a lot easier to get married in this country than to get divorced. Until a couple of years ago, there was no-fault divorces in this country. You had to blame something for the breakdown of your relationship. And it was really difficult. And it cost loads of money. Like, divorces still cost loads and loads of money. This idea, love is grand, marriage is grand, divorce is 50 grand. And it is. I mean, maybe more than that these days. But I don't think that the state should have such a big role in when a relationship breaks down, of like deciding how that all goes down. I mean, why should you have to go to a judge and ask, can we stop going out with each other now, please? It's just daft. Take a step back and go, hey, what's that got to do with the judge? Hey, no, just, I mean, obviously, it's not always amicable and there are things to be worked out, but the idea that one person wants to leave the other person, and by law in this country until very recently, you had to stay married to that other person for 5 years. 5 freaking years. Imagine you're like in your 70s and you don't want to be your husband anymore, but your husband won't let you go. You can't marry someone else for 5 freaking years until you get to say, oh, well, no, I'm free now. I can get married again. So if you are in hospital as an old person and someone has to come and sign your forms and be with you, your new partner, you could be with them for 4.5 years and they won't be able to be with you. But your husband will. Your ex-husband, the guy that you don't want to be with anymore. I mean, come on. I know we've gone on a mad tangent here talking about other stuff, but yeah. Anyway, Duke Vengeance. I'm not trans and I'm not going to transition, but I'm not going to stop other people from wanting to transition because it's my body to control and it's none of my damn business what others do. Absolutely. I really like that line from Tim Waltz. It's none of your damn business. I think that's going to resonate a lot with people across America, across the political divide, because the idea of having the government all up in your shit, in your bedroom, watching you have sex and saying, no, you're not doing it right, is just an anathema to me. Sorry, I'm gonna cough. Prohibition only creates the conditions for organised crime. This includes alcohol and drugs. The tax revenue could be used partially for education and rehabilitation. Alan Buck, you're absolutely right. We spend billions a year trying to stop drugs coming into our country. Billions. That could be spent on support for people who want to stop using drugs, and it could also be spent on education so kids don't start using them in the first place. Riley says, I just remember Coke make me angrier. I don't know about more conservative, but I defo don't like who I became on it. Well, angry people, Riley, they tend to be conservative. Like, all the conservatives I meet, they're always like really angry about stuff, and they don't laugh. That is a big thing. Like, they're trying to make out like it's a bad thing that Kamala laughs all the time in the States. Have you seen this? It's a bad thing. But yeah. Daylight Dave says, yeah, I got a mate in Leeds who I can go known and see in the same amount of time. Grim, enjoy your party tonight, but we're going to have a game of Top Trumps while you're out. Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to be, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up tonight thank you very much for that segue there. I'm going to set up tonight for the Labour Social. Politics. The Politics Social, and get that old name. I'm dead naming my own channel. Jesus Christ. I'm going to be going on to. I'll be coming on at 9:00, and then I'm going to be leaving the conversation. So Wayne's probably going to be in charge. I'm going to ask him not to swear too much, and then what I'm going to do is, while I'm there at the party, I'm going to dial in to the conversation using my phone, like I did on election night, so I can see what's happening and maybe introduce you to some of my friends and family who will no doubt be a little bit three sheets to the wind by then. I don't know. Maybe the party will be over by then. I don't know. I don't know the specifics. I just know that it's one of my family friends who's got married, and we're having a bit of a shindig for them. They've come over from Canada. What bloody song from America uses the same dirge as we do for our national anthem? I don't know, but I know that, I think, is it the state? I'm going to say I know, but I think it is the national anthem, or the state anthem of Indiana. And someone needs to look this up. I'm sure they use Rule Britannia. I think it's a tune from Rule Britannia, but just with different words. Someone please look that up. There was a young girl in the USA who set up her cookie store outside a cannabis clinic. That is good planning. Yeah, indeed. Well, do you know what? All things being equal, I'd much rather people have cannabis cookies or cannabis pizza or whatever, because then it doesn't affect other people. I don't want to smell it. Like, the smell of cannabis isn't particularly pleasant for me for various reasons, and it's weird, isn't it? Because like, the smell of stuff can take you back to a place and a time, and sometimes that can be a positive experience. Sometimes it can be a negative experience. And for cigarettes, and for the smell of cigarettes and the smell of cannabis for me. We just disconnected. Why did we just disconnect? What was all that about? I don't know. Anyway, Johnny Cophead, thank you very much, saying, Wayne, Tory Wayne, we're getting disconnected because the Russians like, Graham, you've blathered on too long. You're coming back at 1:00 to do the agenda with Phil Morehouse, which I'm definitely going to do. So, Fumstick says, my country 'tis of thee is the same tune as God Save Thee, insert monarch here. Did anyone look up the, thanks for that, Fumstick. Did anyone look it up for the state anthem of Indiana? I'm really interested now. Is it the same country? Same country. Is it the same music as Rule Britannia? I've got a real feeling that it is. Portugal has legalized them all. No crime problems with drugs, says Danny Julido. Yes, Danny, you're absolutely right. And Switzerland's done some really great, strides with getting to grips with the problem with illegal drugs. One of the big problems is it's illegal. Anyway, so I'm going to get off now. So I'll be back at 1 o'clock with Phil for the agenda. We'll be talking about what's been going on this week. But yeah, I just wanted to raise your awareness of the kind of just the kind of people that the Conservative leadership contenders are consorting with. It's not great. So we need to keep fighting. We can't let our guard down because they want to take away everything from us. All those hard-won freedoms that we've got over the last 50, 60, 200, 1,000 years, they want to take them all away. They want the rich to get richer. They want the rest of us to live in squalor and die young so they don't have to pay for our pensions. That is their plan. They are disgusting social Darwinists. They are into eugenics. They all think that they're going to live in their little bunkers underground, like some kind of Fallout future where they get to control everything. And if you look at the actions of a lot of these millionaire, billionaire gobshites, a lot of it comes around to the fact that they because they're psychopaths, because they're narcissists, they have to feel like they're in control all the time of everything. And the more money they get, the more control that they want. And the one thing they will never, ever have in their life is enough. And that is the problem. We need to set that bar. We need to put something in to say, look, one person can't have this much money because this is the kind of shit they do with it. The Heritage Foundation, Project 2025. This is how the rich choose to spend their money. And with the mega rich, the ridiculously rich, the disgustingly rich, in a country where, in a world where there's so much good that could be done with that money, and they choose to buy themselves an underground bunker in Hawaii instead. Anyway, right, I'm going to get off. Using the chat for illegal activities is not good for the community. Please don't use the chat for illegal activities. The super rich are the Morlocks of the future, says Acro Dave. Okay, I'll be back at 1. Until then, thank you for watching. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for the super chats. Give a like on the way out. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.